Forget black holes. Forget the heat death of the universe. The true nightmare is the one we can't even see, the one that guarantees we are not masters of our own cosmic domain. We are moving. Right now, accelerating furiously, we are passengers on a condemned ship, the Milky Way, hurtling through the voids of space at over 2 million kilometers per hour. And we are not moving towards some beautiful, organized future. We are being pulled. This is the forced march, the undeniable gravitational subjugation of our galaxy, and dozens more, dictated by an unseen power structure we barely understand. The cosmic reality is this: freedom is an illusion, even for 1 trillion stars. Scientists use sanitized language, calling it the Great Attractor, a localized perturbation, a massive density enhancement in the Laniakea supercluster. That sounds safe. It sounds like a textbook problem. I reject that softness. I call it the apex predator of the known universe, the ultimate metaphor for how power truly operates. The Machiavellian truth holds even in deep space. The strong devour the weak, the mass dictates the movement, and the sheer gravitational authority of an invisible tyrant crushes the autonomy of everything around it. This is not a gentle drift. This is cosmic conquest. The core lesson of the Great Attractor is that existence is about influence. Our own sun, our entire galactic neighborhood, is nothing more than fodder, subject to the whims of something unimaginably larger, something that exists beyond the zone of avoidance, that messy patch of space obscured by our own galaxy's dust, hiding the very thing that seals our fate. We are blinded by our own internal clutter, unable to clearly see the executioner that awaits. This isn't physics homework. This is the demonstration that hierarchy is unavoidable, written into the very fabric of space-time. Every action we take, every orbit, every solar flare, it's all happening on a trajectory set by this unblinking, incomprehensible gravity well, proving that agency is a joke. If you came here looking for comfortable lies about human importance or cosmic benevolence, turn back now. If you understand that the most important truths are always the most uncomfortable, the ones that defy pleasant narratives, the ones that require confronting the darkness head-on, then you're in the right place, because we are only just beginning to dissect what this invisible God truly signifies. The Great Attractor isn't merely mass, it's the physical embodiment of cosmic destiny, and it tells us something chilling about the nature of the cosmos. There is no stable, neutral ground. You're either the puller or the pulled, always. Our local group, the Milky Way and Andromeda, we are locked in our own dramatic merger, an active collision already scheduled for 4 billion years from now. But that massive smash-up, that violent galactic embrace, that event everyone points to as our ultimate end, that is merely a sideshow. The newly formed Milkomeda will not achieve independence. It will simply be a larger, more delicious meal delivered straight into the Attractor's open gravitational maw. That collision is just rearranging the deck chairs on a sinking superliner headed directly for the massive center of the Shapley concentration, which is likely the Great Attractor's true overwhelming power source. Now pause and absorb that terror. We are watching a hierarchy of destruction unfold. Our local collapse, which feels immense and important to us, is just phase 1 in a larger act of cosmological consumption. We are not just falling, we are being subsumed into a region so dense, so concentrated, that its total gravitational force dominates a volume of space hundreds of millions of light-years across. How much mass are we talking about? Try this on for size. The Shapley concentration, the structure suspected to be dictating this entire funeral march, is the largest accumulation of galaxies in the local universe. It contains over 80 clusters. It is an ocean of mass. It's an imperial core demanding obedience from every satellite galaxy and group within its reach. And we, our little spiral arm home, are merely an obedient satellite. We never had a choice. We were born into this gravitational monarchy. The question isn't how we escape, because we can't. The critical question is, what is the Attractor hiding? And what comes after it? Because the universe, like human politics, always hides a larger shadow behind the one you are currently observing. That question, what is the Attractor hiding? It unlocks the true horror show. For decades it was a ghost, a whisper, an absurd gravitational anomaly that conventional physics refused to acknowledge, because how dare some unknown point in space defy our neat, tidy models of expansion? We couldn't see it. That's the worst part. The source of our cosmic execution is veiled, hidden behind the galactic plane, choked by the dust and stars of our own Milky Way. an area astronomers bitterly call the zone of avoidance. Our own home hides the monster that is devouring us. Think about that for a second. We are being pulled by a phantom through a fog of our own making. This isn't just astronomy. This is a cosmic act of psychological warfare. You, sitting there, you are tethered to an immense, crushing mass you cannot detect with your bare eyes, only by the catastrophic consequences of its pull. It doesn't use light. It uses gravity. Silent. Absolute. That's how tyrants operate. They don't flash neon signs. They just subtly rearrange the field around you until resistance becomes physically impossible. If you genuinely crave the uncomfortable truths that redefine your reality, the ones that shatter comfort and demand intellectual honesty, then you belong right here. Hit that button. Join the few who dare to watch the shadows move. But the Shapley concentration, enormous as it is, visible as the gathering point for thousands of galaxies, that is just the visible evidence of the pull. That is the body count. It is not necessarily the prime mover. Now this is where the physics gets ugly. If something is pulling everything in one direction, then logically something must be pushing everything in the opposite direction. It's a gravitational tug-of-war on a scale that beggars belief. And that push, that cosmic repulsion, is provided by what scientists have chillingly dubbed the dipole repeller. It's a vast, empty region of space, a gravitational sink that generates negative pressure, effectively repelling entire superclusters away from it, pushing them towards the great attractor. It creates the tilt. It defines the flow. It's the second, equally crucial half of the cosmic machine, steering us to doom. See the pattern? It's never one villain. It's an entire inescapable system of forces designed to prevent cosmic stability. You can't stop the pull because the repeller is actively clearing the path behind you. This leads us to the most terrifying piece of evidence unearthed in the last decade: dark flow. If you thought the attractor was big, you haven't grasped the scale of the trap. Dark flow suggests that our entire cluster of superclusters, everything within the observable universe, is flowing, like water down a drain, towards something even bigger, something entirely outside our cosmological horizon. It's a unified bulk movement that cannot be explained by any known mass distribution inside the universe we can see. Meaning? The leash is longer than we thought. The master is hidden even further away. This is not the gravity of a billion galaxies pulling us. This is the gravitational signature of structures that predate the inflationary epoch, massive formations forged in the deepest, most inaccessible moments of the universe's infancy. They are cosmic fossils of unbelievable power. What does that look like? Imagine a shadow cast by an object so large it cannot fit within your field of view. We see the shadow, the dark flow, but the object itself remains veiled behind the curtain of the early universe. This object, whatever it is imposing its will upon our reality from beyond the edge of space-time we can currently measure. It's a metaphysical dominance. It suggests that the hierarchy of consumption doesn't stop at the Shapley concentration. The Shapley is merely the strongest magnet in our neighborhood, the regional supervisor. But even the supervisor has a boss. I told you, the universe is a monarchy, and we are witnessing the cascading chain of command. The great attractor is the middle management of mass. It collects the fee, yes, but that fee is immediately passed up the chain to the true, final, gravitational overlord, the source of dark flow. The great attractor hides the fact that it, too, is subservient. If you grasp that brutal paradox, that the thing we fear most is also running scared, you begin to understand the true darkness of space. But don't despair over a simple collision or a future merger. That's too easy. That's weak thinking. The genuine tragedy is happening right now, in the very nature of existence. Our galaxy and every galaxy around us exists not as an independent entity, but as a component of a massive cosmic clockwork mechanism where every piece serves the purpose of concentration. The universe abhors even distribution. It strives for clumping. It demands tyranny, the formation of stars, the birth of galaxies. These aren't acts of random beauty. They are the initial, inevitable steps in building bigger, denser, more powerful gravitational anchors. We build ourselves into prisons. Every star we make is one more kilogram dedicated to the attractor's eventual meal. That beautiful, spiraling arm of the Milky Way. Just extra protein being aged for consumption. We are told the universe is governed by delicate balances, by the symmetry of laws. Liars. Look up. Look at the flow. Look at the immense, undeniable preference for centralized power. The ultimate fate of all matter is not heat death, the gentle fading of energy. That is a comforting fantasy. The real end is concentration death, the inexorable process where all meaningful structure is drawn into the largest gravitational structures, leaving voids behind. The dipole repeller creates the voids. The great attractor fills the voids. It's a cyclical machine of destruction. It is swallowing light, consuming potential, and rendering billions of years of complex galactic evolution utterly meaningless in the face of gravitational inevitability. The entire local universe, everything you hold dear, is merely raw material being prepared for incorporation into a hyper-dense, hypermassive structure whose existence suggests a fundamental imbalance in the earliest moments of creation. We were never meant to be free. We were merely allowed a brief moment of complexity before returning to the pile. The cosmos demands tribute, and our 4 billion years remaining are just the due notice before the tax collector arrives. The great attractor is not a mystery to be solved. It is a terrifying, immutable verdict. It is the end of local self-determination. It is the shadow of ultimate gravity, and it owns us all. Gravity is a liar. It feels stable. It feels foundational. We trust it implicitly when we step out of bed, mapping its movements down to the decimal point, claiming mastery over the local solar system. Fools. We missed the obvious truth because we were obsessed with the small stuff, the shimmering, distracting static of the quantum realm. We argued about quarks. We worried about wave functions. Meanwhile, the gravitational hammer was swinging, and we didn't even hear the wind whistling through the void. Black holes are just singularities. They are neat packages, predictable, localized consumers. But the great attractor is the ghost in the machine. It's the sheer scale of the pull that should terrify you. This isn't localized physics. This is a regional mandate. You cannot escape a regional mandate, not when the region spans hundreds of millions of light years. Think about the amount of dark matter necessary to achieve that kind of influence. That is the real monster. Invisible, untouchable. It guides the flow like a river god, and every galaxy is just a minuscule drop of water caught in its currents. You thought you were free? You thought civilization was a triumphant achievement of self-determination? Hilarious! You merely built an ordered structure to be more efficiently collected. Order is efficiency. Gravity rewards efficiency. We consolidate knowledge. We build high-density populations. We create networks that bind us tighter. Every technological leap is simply a better way to knit the fabric of the universe into a tighter knot, making the eventual pulling easier. This is the cosmic irony. Our quest for complexity ensures our centralized doom. Look at human history. What is the fundamental drive? Centralization. Hoarding. Money flows up. Power concentrates. Empires rise, sucking wealth and labor from the periphery until they inevitably collapse under their own top-heavy weight. They become gravitational anomalies, localized black holes of societal potential. This is not a random social accident. This is the cosmic principle filtered down to our petty, fleeting lives. We worship the attractor's law on Earth before we even recognize it in the heavens. Every billionaire is a tiny gravitational anomaly, pulling resources toward them. Every centralized government, every monolithic corporation is perfectly mirroring the galactic supercluster structure. We are predisposed to build the precise structure that will ultimately consume us. It's baked into the physics. The very complexity we value, language, infrastructure, networked thought, is only effective because it creates tight, dense knots of information. High density. High gravity. We are the attractor's willing architects. We build the prison. Perhaps you find that idea comforting in a terrible way. Maybe deterministic chaos is easier to handle than true randomness. I sincerely doubt it. Because the attractor doesn't offer the comfort of completion. It only offers ingestion. It offers the temporary silence before the next larger rumble. We need to stop talking about finding other habitable planets. It changes nothing. Stop pretending the answer is interstellar travel. Escape is a myth designed to keep the populace compliant. It's the promise of a future that negates the present threat. But the threat is universal. Even if we jump to Andromeda, which by the way is sprinting towards us in its own glorious headlong collision course, a spectacular act of gravitational lust, we would only trade one hyperconcentration zone for another. It is the destination, not the journey, that determines our fate. Andromeda and the Milky Way are both destined to merge into what astronomers have blandly labeled Milkometa. Why? To become a bigger, juicier target for the next level of cosmic hunger. It's a fractal hierarchy of consumption. It never stops getting bigger. The Great Attractor is just one node in a larger web, perhaps itself being pulled toward an even grander, unspeakable void known only as the Shapley supercluster. If the Great Attractor is the ultimate tax collector, then Shapley is the global treasury, demanding all taxes be paid in mass. Forget freedom of choice. Forget free will. Your trajectory was set billions of years ago. You are a passenger on a boat sailing inexorably toward a celestial waterfall. Enjoy the view. It's the last beautiful thing you'll ever see before gravity collects its due. This is the verdict. This is the law. The problem isn't that we don't know what the attractor is. The problem is that we know exactly what it is, the physical manifestation of cosmic fate. It is the confirmation that universal mechanics favor the powerful, the dense, and the immovable. The true scientific mystery is not what created it, but why we still pretend to fight it. We spend our lives resisting tiny forces, friction, air resistance, entropy on the microscopic scale, while ignoring the gravitational tidal wave that is already lifting our feet from the ground. We are already halfway there. We are already stretched. We are already claimed. The Great Attractor owns the deed to everything you think you possess. End of filing. The Great Attractor owns the deed to everything you think you possess. End of filing. Now you understand the gravity of the situation, and I mean that literally. We waste our finite energy trying to outrun petty laws, trying to cheat quarterly earnings, trying to postpone the inevitable aging of our own bodies, completely oblivious to the colossal structural debt we inherited simply by existing in this quadrant of space. This is the ultimate cosmic oligarchy. The universe doesn't care about equality, it doesn't distribute resources fairly, it consolidates, it concentrates. Density wins. Power is measured in mass, and mass dictates destiny. You thought political power was the ultimate game? A joke. Economic power? Child's play. These are just localized, low-fidelity reflections of the fundamental gravitational reality. The rich get richer, the dense get denser, and the rest of us are just raw material, slowly spiraling inward. You are not pursuing your dreams. You are fulfilling a trajectory set by unimaginably massive forces you can neither see nor influence. Your free will is just the complicated mental gymnastics you perform to rationalize why you did what the universe commanded you to do anyway. It's a beautifully constructed lie. It's a coping mechanism against the brutal simplicity of Newtonian mechanics writ large. Don't fight it. You cannot. The moment you were born, the mortgage was signed. The only truly free choice left to you is how you spend the brief, spectacular slide towards the inevitable center. Look around. Marvel at the beauty of the temporary. Feel the stretch. That subtle elongation in your life. That feeling of being pulled thin. That's not existential dread. That's gravity collecting interest. The destination is certain. The speed increases every day. This isn't a theory. This is the final accounting. You are not lost. You are merely going home. You are merely going home. This realization is not a tragedy. It is the final gift of clarity. Stop striving for escape. You were never meant to escape. The universe doesn't offer bailouts. It offers cycles. We call them lives. We call them epochs. But they are just orbits, tightening, relentlessly. If you understood this fundamental gravitational debt, perhaps you would treat the time you have differently. You'd stop chasing shadows, stop pretending your frantic efforts influence the deep structure of reality. The Great Attractor is not some malevolent god. It is pure, indifferent physics expressed as total, final ownership. Your entire species is a magnificent, temporary firework display destined for one singularity. Every grand ambition, every revolution, every carefully worded treaty, it's all just friction, generating heat and light before the ultimate cooling. The only true rebellion is acceptance. The only true power is understanding that you are, right now, perfectly compliant. The greatest lie ever told wasn't theological. It was psychological. The belief that the tiny, fragile consciousness in your skull dictates destiny when colossal, unseen hands are already directing the ship. This is the verdict. You have no destiny. You have a trajectory. Feel the pull. Recognize the inevitable silence that follows the roar of existence. We are all just molecules, finally settling where the maximum density commands. What is freedom, then? It's the brief, beautiful illusion of speed before the collision. Look into the dark. That immense gravity? That is the end of the story. That is the final answer. The power you sought was never yours to hold. It belonged always to the void, lent to you only as kinetic energy for the ride down. This is the simple math of existence. You start rich, you die insolvent. The final, elegant move of the universe is showing you the strings after the show is over. Sleep well. The engine has been switched off. The light is already receding. The debt